Hey there, horror listeners. My name is Christina Bergling, and I'm going to read you a story. So, one of the hazards of being associated with me is that I may cherry pick pieces of people's lives and put them into my writing. Sometimes this happens subconsciously. I will get hit by inspiration, write a story, and someone will read it and be like, hey, that's me. Whoops. And tonight's story absolutely was that. I wrote it and then gave it to someone and realized it was kind of their childhood. Maybe not the monster, but otherwise, some of the context and family situations. So rather than ripped from the headlines, possibly ripped from your life. Anyway, I'm going to read from The Best of Indie Horror. Check out this monster. I'm going to read from my story, The Dark Sign, which originally was headed for a Zodiac collection. So you will find a little bit of astrology themes in that one. This thing is heavy. When Brad collapsed on the sand near the dark reach of the water, he sucked in air and finally felt a breath fill his lungs. He stared out at the ocean until the movement of the smooth wave blurred out of focus. One more year. He could survive one more year, if they never had to come to this place again. He cast his eyes back at the beach house. It looked different with the knowledge that it was where his life had started, the epicenter of all Helen's hate. He looked away before the tears could form and glanced up at the beach toward the bonfire and the memory of rolling in the sand with a stranger. Juno seemed to have wanted him there, even if it was only the solstice getting to her, even if it was something she always did. In the moonlight, something moved along the shore. Brad squinted at first, convinced his mind was drawing figments in front of his eyes. As he stared, the large shape only became more vivid. It teased at the edge of the surf, approaching him at a distance. The long, thin form branched down into multiple legs that skittered in smooth concert. Fear pierced through the sadness blanketing Brad and replaced the pressure with nervous energy. His muscles flexed and twitched to flee, but he found himself mesmerized by the movements of the massive, crab-like shadow. Maybe he was dreaming. Maybe he had never left his bed in the beach house where he was conceived. He pressed his hands down into the sand, felt the grounded detail of the grains against his skin to confirm he was awake and the night around him was real. The shape continued to approach him as it traced the edge of the water. Waves rippled around the legs, the surf wrapping around them with lacy white fingers. Brad relaxed into his fear until it dissipated into fascination. Yet as the shadow grew closer, it dissolved into something more ordinary. The movement of the 6 legs started to look like 4 legs. By the time Brad could fully articulate it, the creature was revealed with 2 legs, walking normally under the hem of a sundress. Brad shook his head at his own foolishness before he realized Juno was walking up the beach to him. Then his heartbeat stuttered for a different reason. So that is an excerpt of The Dark Sign, which is partially pulled from someone's life. To find out what is made up, take your guesses. Check out The Best of Indie Horror, which obviously has a lot to offer.